All right, welcome to
Oh,
Matt. Oh, welcome to Mad
go
Take TV.
ahead.
Uh, yeah, I'm Jeremy, and I am the face that you will see when you tune into the channel for the most part. But today there's another face joining me. His name is Dre. Welcome, Dre. How's it going,
Yeah,
man?
I'm great, and I'm here to discuss stuff with my homeboy Jeremy.
Right, we're here to talk about.
Weird. I should probably look at the camera more so I can engage.
Yeah, I'm trying to too. It's hard. It really is. Like I'm trying. I'm looking at you on my camera screen, which I actually, you know what? If I do this, maybe if I move you over towards my camera,
That makes sense.
I can like look at while I'm looking at you, I'll be looking kind of at my camera anyway. So yeah, that's what I'll do. So like, yeah, okay, works. I know you can't see me, so that sucks, and I'm
For the
sorry, but
people
we
at
can maybe
home,
figure
I
that out.
can't
Yeah.
see it, but luckily for me, I have a wallpaper up of the character Helena from Orphan Black, so I'm good.
You got something
I'll,
nice to look at. It's better
I'll
than
be all
probably my old wrinkly face that I'm looking at right now on my screen. So, but anyway, we're here to discuss Severance. The new season has come out, and the first three episodes are out. We were a little behind, so we're probably just going to go ahead and go through these first three episodes, and then maybe be back with you next week when the new episode 4 drops. So that's kind of the idea. But yeah, back from season 1 is the new season. What I thought the first episode is so the first episode title, episode 1 is "Hello, Mrs. Cobell." And they dropped a quick, very confusing recap. I didn't realize that it had been 3 years since we've seen the show.
damn.
Yeah,
Three?
so really, like
Three
3 years,
gotta be.
like a season 1 rewatch probably would have been warranted here because I didn't remember a lot. I watched the recap and I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Okay, I'll try." And I'm reminded of stuff slowly as we're going and watching the show. But like, dude, the cold open, like after the recap, like when he comes out of the elevator, dude, the camera work was absolutely bonkers.
You were definitely enamored by the camera work and the cold open. I think I was more or less already clue hunting. Like I was it's like
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
I was just looking like,
But
okay,
what
camera work.
clues? There's it's white walls and him running. What were
Yeah,
you looking for?
but we know there's not just white walls anymore. I mean we know that. We get into that, but we know there's something. I just thought that there might be, and
I
I
was
did
just
see
trying to figure out how they did it. Did they do it with a drone? Was it a dude on roller skates? I don't know. Like how did they do that continuous shot of him running through the thing? I'd be interested to see the behind the scenes of
oh yeah.
that particular shot. Yeah, I guess I was enamored with the camera work. I liked the cold
You know
open. Like
what?
I was hooked like in. It
Reminded
instantly had me watching.
it reminded me of that the scene from Contact, the legendary scene of when she was running up the stairs and ran to the medicine cabinet to try to get
I mean,
the pills or something.
it's been a
And
minute since I've seen Contact. I'm not
it's
gonna lie.
a
I've seen it, but it's been a
legendary
long time.
scene. And it's like they was following her, and then she ran up to the mirror. You see her in the mirror. There's no camera there though. So everybody, for years, people was like flipping out about like how the hell did they do that with the camera, and how did they not see the cameraman behind it, because they like followed her all the way up to the mirror. It was pretty dope. It's
Did they go
legendary.
around her in like an almost full circle though, like front and behind her?
No,
Like there
no,
was a.
no, no, no. The amazing part was the fact that they followed her doing the whole run, and when she ran up to the mirror, you didn't see the
Oh,
camera.
okay, all right, yeah, that's neat.
They actually
Right.
use practical. I don't want to say effects. I'll say they use practical techniques in order to pull that shot off. So it was pretty cool.
Okay, so
But
who do you
anyhow,
think? So who do you think the dude was that was standing behind Mark at the end of that scene?
no, that's what I was going to get to.
Okay,
That's the thing that caught my eye.
right.
That was definitely Milchick.
I don't think so, man. I really don't.
I think it
I
was
have two
Milchick.
clues. I'm sorry. That was a white hand.
I
If
didn't
you
see his
really
hand.
watch it, if you watch it again, as he pulls away, it's out of focus, but you could see it's a white dude's hand. I thought for sure. I was like, that's Milchek too. And dude is named in the credits.
Ah,
So,
okay.
and I caught that. just watching the credits at the end, because I was also looking for another name, which was very interesting. I guess we'll get to in a little bit because that's more towards further into the episode. But yeah, so I caught somebody was named in there, like as the dude in the hallway, like it was like the man in the hallway or something.
Oh
So
yeah,
I wonder if it's the guy that she murdered. Remember the guy she murdered? The outside chick, the chick that he was like that was helping Petey. She was trying to help
yeah,
him reintegrate,
yeah.
and yeah, she remember the dude she hit him with the bat. Like I thought that was him. Like it kind of
Okay.
looked like him, but he's supposedly dead. So I don't know. That really can't be him unless we're dealing with some weird stuff in this show, which we are because his wife is actually
Yeah,
supposed to
I
be
was about
dead
to
too.
say, come on, man. I don't know if death is the same thing in this universe. And first of all, let me say two things.
Sure.
Set the stage for two things that we're discussing. Well, set the stage for the discussion with these two things in mind. One, we don't know what death is in this universe. That seems
Fair.
silly, but when you really think about it, like you already been shown the character that was he said he identified his wife's body. He doesn't seem to be like a crazy person or something like that. So if he's seen his wife's body, he knows she's dead, but we know she's alive as as of last sight. Secondly, the thing that's really tripping me about this show that we talked about before on a previous podcast is the time period that this is supposed to take place in. And because of the ambiguity of the time period, because they drive around in like old 80s style cars,
It's
but
so
then
weird.
pull out like brand new cell phone
That's a
technology.
great point because yeah, he's definitely uses a laptop, and they have these
Yeah,
old ass cars. I agreed. That is such a
yeah. So
weird
my
dynamic.
thing is this, and they made sure to stay with it because even though I'm not I want to skip ahead and talk about the plot point, but when they show even the rich people, the heads of the company, Lumen and whatnot, the limo that she was riding in was an old limo.
Yeah.
So it's not like the poor people had old cars. Just
Right.
everybody got old fucking cars.
Right.
But the
Well,
the the but no, the thing I'm saying is, and this is I'm postulating this now. I'm good for predictions. I don't think this is Earth.
they've said the names of states though.
Yeah, but
Somebody said
see,
this the state of Wyoming. Somebody said
yeah, but I don't think this.
like what state are we in?
I don't think this
I
is meant
don't.
to
You
be.
don't hear much mention of like America or what country
Yeah,
they're in.
I
Oh
don't.
wait, no wait. They've showed the world. They just did. Uh,
Yeah, but I don't think it's Earth. I don't think it's Earth like the way we think. You know how usually when we have fiction, it's like okay, in the DC universe, you got Gotham City, Star City, and shit like that. But then you might have actual like California, Hawaii, stuff like that. I don't think this is supposed to mirror Earth in the way that we see it in most fiction. I think this just mirrors Earth in a way that is like a familiarity. Like in order for you not to be worried about what planet you're on, let's just say it's a quasi Earth type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
well, I mean,
That's the route we're going.
I'm not going to disagree with you that it's some sort of like weird, different kind of reality. But like they did show, I think it's in the like the stop motion video they show them later in this episode that they show like the world map and our 200 and something locations across the world, and they show the
Right.
world map.
You hear
So,
what you
but
hear what I'm saying, but you're not smelling what I'm picking up. I'm
well,
saying
you're saying it's not Earth, but then it's an alternate Earth or a
no,
different
not,
version of
not
Earth,
even
but
an
it's still
alternate.
Earth.
I think that this might not be what they're told it is because
Oh well,
we
okay, well, fine, yeah, that's
we
I
haven't
agree
seen
with you there,
anything
yeah.
outside of this town. And then when we see, well, I don't want to skip ahead, but I do want to make that point. But I'll drive it home when we get. I'll come back to that. But I don't. We haven't in video footage showing you the outside world is different from seeing a character in the outside world. Nobody's left the town yet.
Fair. This is also true,
No.
right? So yeah, we
All
haven't
right.
really seen anything outside of. Well, we saw in the last season we did see Helly in the office building, or was that all take place? No, that all did take place at the Lumen building. Yeah, no, you're
That's in
right. You're 100%. That whole,
that's in
remember the gala or whatever there was that she was at? That was at the
and then
Lumen building, right? In the first
by
season.
episode, and by episode 3, we see somebody trying to leave, and they didn't even leave.
Yeah. Okay. They turned
Went
around
straight
like
to
him.
the
Ah,
highway,
there you
over
go. All right.
house
I
with
like it.
no traffic.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
So
I
no,
don't
okay.
think
I'm picking up what you're smelling, or
yeah,
I'm
that's
smelling
now
what you're
you
putting
now
down.
you with me.
I got you.
Now
All
we
right.
couldn't agree.
Well, I mean, like saying it's not Earth is like I don't necessarily agree with that, but like they could be in a simulation. I guess that wouldn't be Earth. They could be.
That's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know. Like, all right, fair
That's
enough.
what I'm
All
saying.
right,
You gotta
fair
remember, I
enough.
watch a
All
lot
right,
of
so moving on.
stuff.
Like, what was that? Go ahead. I'm sorry, I
I
talked
watch
over you.
a lot of stuff. So you look at it. If you look at something like, and this is my prediction. This is what I'm saying. I just lay it out earlier, then we'll discuss all the other topics. My prediction is that these people are not on Earth and they're not on a planet per se. More like they're in some kind of
Like a space
I
station.
hate I hate to be cliche, but I feel like they're on some kind of space station. That's just my
And this is some
that's
sort of weird mind experiment or way to keep you alive in like a cryopod or something. Okay,
it could be a
that's an
simulation. It
interesting idea.
kind of shit. It could be just experimentation for the sake of experimentation. It's a wild theory, but I want to throw it out there just in case it happened to be
Just
true
in case
by
it
people.
happens to be true. It's on recording. There we go. I
All
like
right,
it.
now let's get it cracking. Go to
All
your
right,
notes, brother.
yeah. No, I'm reading over them as we're going here. So like, he did mention that when Mark comes out of the elevator in the very beginning, that's 5 months after the incident at the end of season 1. So basically,
Right.
the innies just haven't existed for 5 months. That's a weird
Yeah,
thought, right?
yeah, and they make that a point during one of the dialogues with Bill Chick when he was speaking to Mark, uh, Audi Mark, and he was saying how he admired his bravery,
Yes.
his Innie's bravery, and he don't think that that type of bravery should be rewarded with non-existence.
It's dude,
Basically
that
saying,
was like a gut check.
yeah, basically like you killed this man for being brave. You know
It's
what I'm saying?
and dude, it's such a weird. It's such a simple thing to like just tell someone, but then when they really get into the nuances and the details of this procedure, it's like holy shit, this is way deeper than like you like the things that could happen to you as a person or two people is way deeper than just like, oh, they're separate from work and home. Like you can just try to describe that to somebody and try to just tell somebody about the show and be like, yeah, like they like separate themselves from when they go to work and the work person doesn't know what happens outside. You try to just give them this brief explanation to try to get them to watch the show, but like it's hard to describe these nuances, when you really get into it.
It's not a real subtle thing, but you know scientifically and philosophically, people have struggled with the idea of consciousness since since we first started actually thinking as a species.
Right.
So I think the show is exploring the idea of actual consciousness subtly, well, not so subtly, but it's like a background. It's like tertiary to
Well,
what they
and
story they're telling.
and
But these are
the
conscious beings, so they have a separate life,
And
a
the
life of
question,
some.
yeah, the question of like, did you have created another consciousness, and now is that counted as another life, or like is it treated just like no, that's the work person? They don't matter. Like
Well, see,
dude, there's got to be outies that think like that about their innies that don't give a shit
yeah,
what happens to them in there. Just go do the fucking thing that I signed you up to do. Like I don't
but
care what
see,
you feel like. I'm out here. This is my life, and you're in there, and that's what it is. And
right
that's
now,
is
that's what we dealt with in season one. In season one,
yeah.
you had people that was like, "Oh, this is like ungodly, blah blah blah. Why are you people doing this to yourselves? It's not natural." You had protests about it and things like that. Lumen, being Lumen, the big corporation, they wouldn't really care about that. But seeing the inhumaneness on his face at the end of season one, now in season two, you have a company shift in focus to say, you are people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you are people.
or putting on the face that they care. They're the
Well,
outside. They want the outside world or whatever to see that they do care about the severed individuals on the inside.
now let me ask you a question about that.
Sure.
I want to get your point of view on that point specifically.
Hmm.
Do you feel like I get the comparison with the real world, and they trying to say like companies and how they treat their employees and shit like that. But I'm saying for this story, do you feel like it's being presented as though Moomin doesn't care about the innies at all, or is it the care is up to the point of we still need this great work done?
The
So
care is only as far as to what you can put forth to their purpose.
right.
You know,
So
they
it's
care
not.
about you. If you don't have,
Not
if you don't, if you
care.
you can't. They don't care, and if you don't, if you're not providing the service or job or whatever it is that you signed up to do at that place, whether it's micro data refinement or fucking goat herding. You know,
Oh my God! Don't go there
right,
yet. We got
right.
to.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Well,
We
you
gotta
saw
get.
some goat herding. Yeah, I know.
We
We got to
gotta
get
build
there.
up to that.
Right. So right. So he comes in to work. He runs around. He finds the building. He runs into Milchek, right? And now Milchek's in charge of the office. He's the not a floor manager, and he's moved into Mrs. Cobell's office and has a new weird child assistant. Like, what the fuck is that?
What is
Right,
her name? Do you
Mrs.
remember?
Wong.
Miss Wong. Okay.
Right, but I don't remember her first. She said her first name. I think they've just called her Miss Wong as of this far, but they might have said her name too. I'm not sure. But yeah, so he gives him a brief like rundown, and then he takes him in and he meets him to meet his new team. You know, we go in there and there's three new faces in there. So I only caught the two names of the people. I caught Mark W. And then there
Mark
was
W. That's my
Mark
favorite.
W. and Gwendolyn Y. came from Branch 5X, which is a recently shut down
They
branch.
go right.
The third guy, I did not catch his name.
I couldn't understand what he was saying, and I don't watch TV with subtitles, unfortunately.
Oh,
So
see, I watched back several times, and maybe I was just kind of distracted while I was taking notes every time, but like I just didn't seem to catch his name, so I got him written down as third guy. So they
well, I
come in,
know he's fired guy.
right? So,
He's
well, the
he's
thing is,
unemployed.
the another point to that existence thing is that Mark W said at the ball game, like when they were playing the red ball game, he says, I thought I was going to be retired or permanently retired. Is that what he said?
I don't
Yeah,
remember him.
yeah, permanently retired once my branch shut down. So this is a pleasant surprise. Just meaning it's so weird. Like so, like when you go to sleep, when you get in the elevator, if you don't come back through the elevator for 2 years, that person opens his eyes at the very last moment he closed them when he went up the elevator. Right? Is that the kind of idea that I'm getting? Because Mark came out of the elevator like in a fucking hurry. Like it was just at the moment where he, I don't know, switched.
So here's your question: What do you think? What do you think the importance of Mark is? Main character Mark, not Mark W.
You mean like, dude? Well, they've hinted out. Man, I don't want to like give away too much, but they hinted somewhere, and I can't remember what episode it is, that he is doing something important and that he has to finish
They
it.
don't seem to care if
So
the other guys work there.
no, because they tried to replace them instantly. But his team, he needed his team. That they put his team back by the end of this episode. They put the team back because he
Because he
needed them
demanded,
to be able to
right?
get his work done, whatever important work that he's doing needs to be done. What was the name that I heard? I heard it just recent. Well, I was trying to finish up rewatch the third episode. Cold Harbor is
Okay.
what Miss Selvig called it. She's like, he needs to finish Cold Harbor. So that's like, I don't remember that being mentioned in the first season, which I don't know.
I saw,
Maybe we'll go back and like, I'll go back and rewatch season one just in the next couple days, just kind of like try to speed run through it just to be fresh on it again, you know?
I like the camera for fun. Can't
What's that?
carry on.
Are you
Nothing.
looking at, oh, you have it up somewhere where you can see it?
I'm just goofing right now. That's all I'm listening.
Okay. Oh no, you're good, dude. I was gonna try to keep it at around an hour because the video files get so fucking big, and it takes
That's what
me
she said.
hours and hours and hours to upload it. I'll just do it overnight, but it's still like a pain in the ass. But it
So
doesn't
with
matter.
that
I'll
being,
figure that out.
yeah, so that being the case, uh, Mark is the main character. Helly is a main character, and so is Dylan, and so is Earl.
Irv,
Herb,
yeah,
sorry.
yep. They're the
But
main squad, right?
they don't seem to matter.
Well, they matter to Mark,
They matter to Mark,
which makes them
but
matter.
the company needs him. Now let's look.
For whatever reason,
Helly,
we're not really understanding yet.
they also. I mean, I'm trying to extrapolate what's different from him and the other character. What's different between those characters? Helly obviously is trying to please a unpleasable father figure or real father or whoever.
I have an
But
interesting theory about her too going on right now. I wonder if you've caught it or you think it too.
yeah, I'm interested to hear that. But
Yeah.
Irving is seemingly a miserable old man, but I don't know that he came into the company with that misery. They don't really spell that out. It almost appears as though Irving is in the company and then he became miserable because of the company. Dylan, kind of a screw up. He got a shitty attitude towards his life because he never really found his place. So this was like the perfect place for him. But
Yeah,
Mark
so
seems
he
to
can
be
still be he can provide for his family and not
right.
have to worry about it.
Right.
Right.
But for Mark, it seems like this is just a way to exchange or extinguish the pain and the anguish that he's feeling. And I feel like that pain is what they need him. If
It
that's
it
making
it
sense.
definitely has something to do with it, and that's why whatever happened with his wife happened. Or
Yeah, like they do
they
that
saw
to
what
make
happened with
him.
his wife and opportunistically jumped on it
Yeah, because it's
to
weird because he got the story. The way the story is, he got hired after she died.
right. Well, he went there because of it. That was like the reason he
Right.
said he went there.
He
Yeah.
joined it because she was dead. So it's like, did they put that tragedy in place? And given that she's HR,
That's a
did
very
she
good
do that?
question. That's a
Did
very good
she do
question that
that?
remains
Is that
unanswered at the moment. That could very be. It's a very good possibility. Yeah, because I like, but like I was thinking about it too. This show isn't overly violent. I think we've seen one violent death, maybe, and it was
yeah,
Petey,
that was in the first season when
and it was Pete, right, his buddy that
yeah.
used to work there. Yeah. So, okay, I thought it was an interesting too, and it just catches me weird because like it's just things that like it makes you think about like with these details, like when she asks him, they kind of go to him with the supply closet, and they're like, she's like, so what's, did you see the sky? And he is like, I was outside for a minute, but I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to my brother-in-law. She was like, well, like brother-in-laws weren't even on the list. The sky was like number one. Like, why didn't you look up? I'm pretty sure it was nighttime anyway, but like still, like the fact they've never seen the sky is bananas to me. Like, how did they get rid when they put this bean in there or this chip or whatever in their brain? How does it get rid of a memory of the sky, but still have you as an operable person?
Yeah, and I remember
It's so strange.
they were testing them. Remember the opening scene to the actual series? They do that test where they have them uh like try to identify where they were born and things like that, just to kind of
But it's
run a
just like
diagram,
these vague details,
right?
right?
Just to see if the programming works. But it's like yeah, I mean that's an interesting thing. That's an interesting thing. But I think more or less I don't know. I don't really have a too strong of a thought on that, honestly.
So they had an interesting conversation between the three of them leading from that when they were asking about he started talking about the Egans, the perpetuity wing in their branch had animatronic Egans that moved around and did a choreographed dance or something like that. And then the other guy, third guy, says in my branch they were brooms with plates for faces.
Yeah.
So like there's like the super end of that, and then there's the poor the like the original end of that. Then there's the wax statues that they have in our perpetuity wing, and then there's animatronic things in branch 5X, which I just found was an interesting conversation. Like, and they're just having these weird conversations. It's just
Well, it feels like that they're just laying out that each one of these branches are just iterations on the last one. They see what works,
right.
see what caused these people to flip out, what
And he said
caused the
something
rep.
about we were so poor or something like that.
Mhm.
Right. So then like what does Mark tries to like write some sort of really bad note about Milkshake and blame it on
Yeah,
Mark W. And it was
he
just
was
like
trying
they
to get
caught
them
him right
fired.
away.
Yeah, he was stressing Milchick out, man. Milchick
Right.
don't have time
Oh,
for this,
dude is
man.
so stressed.
He trying to hold down his new position.
I
He
know,
don't
man.
need he don't need Mark's bullshit right now. He
Right.
needs you to come home to work and get these goddamn macro datas refined.
So then he comes out. He comes out of a. I was just cut jotting notes. So if I'm losing my place here and I'm not going exactly scene by scene, whatever. So like, there's another scene where he comes out of the elevator and he's looking at a painting, and the painting is called Kier Pardons His Betrayers. And it was like the Lord Kier or whoever the fuck this guy is, and he's kneeling over like four like they look like busts, like there's only like shoulders up. Looks like they're either coming out of the ground or busts. But like if you look closely, like you could maybe pick out a few of our main characters in there, or like be like, okay, he looks like her, or he looks like that one, or he looks like that one. But it's four people, the betrayers, the four people that went rogue in the end of the season 1.
Hmm.
So this is him pardoning the betrayers, which I thought was an interesting painting to be there.
Yeah, he had and when you think about the what you're looking at is they're half in, half out of the ground now.
Right. Oh, okay. So in another,
Think
so
about what
like
they're
this, I
doing.
think, so that was like he came out, and that was when the team comes back,
Right.
right? So and then they all come out of the elevator. He meets up everybody. He's got his squad back. They're walking through the hallways and they're talking, and Dylan's just like, I don't give a fuck about the other people. Who cares? They're gone. It doesn't matter. He's okay
Right.
with them not existing anymore. Like, I just thought that was funny. Like Dylan's a great character. What's that dude's name? Zach Cherry. The
I
actor's
haven't.
name.
I just
But
wait till
but he's
Spider-Man
good.
do it.
Yeah, do a flip. Yeah, yeah. So then they get confronted by Milkshake. Why did I do that? I even did that by accident. They
Right.
get confronted by Milkshake, and he takes them to the break room, right?
Oh,
And
listen. Yeah.
right, and they show them this weird stop motion video, man. And I was like watching this video, and I'm like, dude, whose voice is that? Like, I know that
Yeah.
voice. And I was like, that's Keanu Reeves. I was like, I clicked my head and I looked it up, and I was like, for sure, Keanu Reeves confirmed. Because again, in the credits, that's whose name I was looking for. His name is not actually in the credits that I could tell.
Hmm.
There's another point that comes up, and it credits the person who did the voice of the water tower in that video, but not the building. So I wonder why that is. Like why Keanu Reeves wasn't credited, or if it was just an Easter egg meant for people to try to pick out and find. But
Yeah.
the
Probably
Reddit I
something.
looked up, it said confirmed that he was the voice of it.
Probably something he did as a favor to one of the producers, somebody on
Ben
the show.
Stiller or somebody, right? Yeah,
Or he might just be a fan of the show on one of the
that's
parts.
true.
You know,
Also true. Right.
that's how Whoopi Goldberg became part of Star Trek. She was a Star Trek fan
Right.
and a fan of the Next Generation, and she made that public and vocal.
Right.
And they put her on for a guest spot. Next thing you know, she became one of the best characters on the show. So maybe we might get some Reeves in the future.
Right.
Maybe. I don't want to lean too heavy into that just in case.
I mean, if he
But
had a
no,
guest spot, maybe that was him. Maybe it was him in the hallway. The guy was really tall. The mystery guy in the hallway at the beginning. But no, I said he was credited as somebody else. But where was I at? Okay, so they all sit down and start discussing what they saw when they were out, right? for the 39 minutes or whatever. Helly does not tell the truth here.
Why?
Right.
Why? I don't understand.
Well, here comes
I
my theory.
understand.
Here comes my theory. I don't think she's severed at the moment
I don't think she's separate anymore. Yeah, at all.
anymore. I think she was in the first season, and now I think like a part of this is they're trying to save his wife, but now they're also going to try to save Helly R.
Well, ask yourself this, and I just want to play devil's advocate just so we can cover all the bases.
Sure.
If you're Helly, you trying to find her. Remember, she was really trying to get out of there. Remember, Mark was actually trying to get her to stay
No, I
in the
know
first.
she was. Yeah, because remember they
He
even
was
the
gonna
Helly R
chop
did the
her.
video that like said you're not a person. Remember
Yeah,
that? Yeah.
put her down. But remember, she was gonna chop her own hand off. She don't want to be there.
Right.
So imagine you're that character. You are so dead set on getting free or ending your life and its existence, and then you wake up on the stage and she didn't wake up on the stage. She woke up backstage and found out that she was actually part of the company, and not only part of the company, but one of the top people in the company.
Yeah, like the owner's daughter.
Right, her father runs the company. So
Right.
imagine coming back to the group and sitting there and talking about what y'all found out and having to tell them that. Would they trust you?
Okay. There you go. I very, very, very much like what you just said. That's a very good counterpoint to her, just to my her that she's not severed and kind of undercover in a way.
Yeah,
Like
I
she
thought
was
my
in.
first thought was that she was undercover and she was going in to keep an eye on everybody.
Okay. I like that
But
very much.
the second side, I looked at it, I said, well, if I found out I was actually running the program and I was the person who put most of this shit together, I don't know if I could come back to the group and be like, yeah, you know what, I'm actually the vice president of this shit. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Like, I can't. Like, how could you
Right.
even trust me at that point? I'm just saying, just
I feel you on that. That's a great counterpoint. I like that very much. So at the end of the video, Milchek tells them they all have a choice whether they want to stay or not. By the end of the
hold
day,
on.
if they go back to work, what?
You went too fast.
I was talking to.
You didn't talk about the vaguely threatening nature of the video.
Oh yeah. No, go ahead. Discuss. I didn't write I just a rear video in stop motion.
Yeah, they said well, we're gonna have this and we're gonna do this for you. Then you can bob. First of all, he bobbing for pineapples,
Bobbing
bro.
for pineapples.
But when they showed the animation on bobbing for pineapples, they had their hands tied behind their backs.
Yeah. Well, and also the
That
very first line of the video says, "Lumen is listening."
man, listen, and then
We
they
hear
showed
everything your bitch ass is saying.
they showed Irving in the funny mirror maze,
Right.
but everything looked distorted and scary. None of the treats that they told him they had looked like something that was good. It was presented in a way that like it was supposed to be fun and enjoyable, but everything felt like a vague threat. Like these are the new sets of
It's
punishments we got for you.
so like there was a
And what's up
show.
with pineapples in the show?
What's up?
But anyway, we can talk about that later.
I didn't hear what you asked.
What's up with the pineapples in the show? Is
Yeah,
my
I don't know.
fans
Well, last year or last season was watermelons or something, wasn't it? Or
should I turn this
melon
down?
party. It was like a melon party. No, you sound okay. Why?
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure. But yeah,
I think
no.
you're slightly delayed, like just a very little bit. So when you start talking, like your voice doesn't come through right away. So I'm having a little trouble timing my responses because it's a little off. Not any. I think it's acceptable, but it is just a little delayed.
But yeah, no, I don't know. But they got a specific thing with pineapples that they're doing right now, and I think that's also a little bit weird. But like you
It
said,
wasn't watermelons. Last it was like melon parties. They came out with all the different shaped, like and cut like cantaloupes and mango melons and like what do they call it? What's the other one? Honeydew melon. They had all kind of different melons. The melon party. So now it's the balloons with his faces on it was weird. Dude, the whole show gives off this air of discomfort that's hard to describe, and it's fantastic that they managed to give this give you that like, it's just like this itch up your spine kind of discomfort. It's very very well
So
done.
notice that there's a sliding scale of that.
Yeah,
There seems to be rungs on the ladder of okay. The first season you had Harmony Cobell, aka my crush. I don't care. And Milchick. They was creepy as shit.
right.
Creepy, kind of weird, off-putting. And then you had the chick that would come in and speak when the board was on the phone. And she
Natalie.
didn't, you're right, she didn't give discomfort or creepiness in the first season. She didn't, you didn't get that vibe from her. All you got was that she was just speaking for the board, right?
Man, but
Because
something happened with her in the first season that I can't remember exactly what it was, but something happened that yeah, you go ahead, finish
that's
your
what I'm
thought.
saying. So now on the run, you got Harmony and Milchick. They moved down a little bit, and they're humanizing them a little bit. But
Yeah,
now you got
agreed.
a replacement creepy motherfucker. Now you got the real Helly, and you
Yeah.
got Audi, and you got the chick that was speaking
Well,
for. She still does the thing with speaking for the board, but
and
she's a little.
Helly's bodyguard or whoever the fuck this guy is, Mr.
I
Drummond.
don't know
That
about that.
dude is with his Lord Farquaad haircut. Dude is like, that's the dirty work guy right there.
He
He
seems
see,
like the type of person that they'll send in to do harm, but I feel like that might be a red herring. But yeah, I feel you. He gives you
well,
like
I
as
don't
soon
even
as you
maybe
see,
like do harm, but like yeah, do whatever sleazy shit or
yeah, he
spy.
feels
Like
vaguely threatening all of the
yeah,
time.
all the
Like
time.
screen, he's
Right,
never emoting at all. He's just like, I'm on the screen. We gonna
right,
do the thing. The boy gonna want you. You know what I'm saying? Like
right. Yeah.
I'm here to convey information. I don't give a fuck about nothing else.
And like just he puts off the air of like fierce loyalty too.
Yeah, that type of thing. One of
Yeah,
those
right,
true believers,
right,
or one of
right.
those non-human types.
Or non-human. There you go. Okay. So
We gonna bring
I
it.
think with all this shit that they're giving to Dylan, the like, oh, we're doing this family wing for you. Check out these blueprints. Here we're gonna do this for you. And they're always pulling him aside. They're isolating him. They're trying to turn him against the group.
He's the Mark is the most important.
Right.
And I had this discussion with my
Or
nephew.
not turn him against. I'm sorry, turn him against, but like turn him to their side in a way, or make him
Yeah,
more
make him.
sympathetic to them, to where he would be in the ear of Mark, possibly.
Yeah, I like the discussion I was having with my nephew. I was like, you got to think about it. Mark is the most important. Helly is the boss. Even whether she any or outie Helly, she's still the boss. That's the way they look at her, the company. I mean, but Dylan is the one who had the nuts to go and do the thing. He's the one who activated the overtime protocol. He's the one who physically had an altercation with Milchick.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Dylan is the one that they was like, yeah, like Milchick fired him. I think basically because he like held a grudge about that. But yeah, Dylan, it feels like they trying to keep him there and make him a company guy.
And pliable, right?
Yeah,
Right.
he
Right.
might have what they need in another instance. They might want to have some other designs for his character.
All right. So I have one
I
more
was
quick question about episode 1. Why did Mrs. Wong have like the little tiny computer? You pay attention when they like pan across her. She's looking at her computer is like half the size of everybody else's that they're using. It's like a little tiny computer. She's playing some sort of, it's a game or something, but it's like a little computer. That's what it looked like to me. Maybe it could have been camera angles or whatever. I just wrote that down
yeah,
as it looked like.
he was
So
playing a
yeah,
game and
any
she was like kids
well, a
still.
game, but it also looked like it is something similar to what they were doing in the office with the numbers. It's just minus the numbers. Maybe she's like either being groomed or that's a poor choice of words to use, but she's being, trained to do what they're doing eventually. Or so she understands it. It's just in a simpler form or something. I just thought that was weird. So you got any more final thoughts on episode 1 before we move on to
Uh,
second up?
no, I'm with you. I'm just following along with you.
Okay. So then season 2, episode 2 is titled Goodbye, Mrs. Selvig. And I'm wondering at some point or another, because this is the episode that picks up directly where the last season left off. Like almost from the Audi side, though. You see what I'm saying? Like we got
Mm-hmm.
the direct after with the innies, and now we get the direct after with the outies. And what
I
happened
do
with
have a
the
question
sure.
right off the jump for that. What was up with the scene when Helly was in the conference room and she was waiting for her father to come in, and he came in and he called her a fetid moppet.
It's literally my third note written down. Actually, I was gonna look it up and to see what it meant, but I forgot. So, but that was the only words he said to her. Were
Yeah,
fetid
but
moppet.
once he noticed that she was like father, and then he was like, okay, he turned around. He was cursing out any Helly.
Okay.
But then when he realized when she was like father, and then he was like, okay, that's my daughter. But he didn't say like I'm sorry, or, my bad.
No,
That
this
wasn't
dude is again,
like
like I said,
around
maybe
like that.
something more than human or not human.
I felt like he was about to. My point was the reason why I brought it up, or the reason why I asked. I feel like he was about to do something.
So
You
you
know,
think at that point? I think that I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird.
I feel like he was about to come in and punish her or something. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the way he's approaching it. And then when she was like father, he was like, yeah, okay,
Right. So
whatever. You know what I'm saying? I get a hold of it next time.
right. It that's kind of seemed like yeah. He's like, "You wait till I get a." That was almost like the vibe too. Like, wait till I get a hold of that other your other
Yeah,
self or
I
whatever it
gotta
is.
get a hold of
Yeah,
the other
sure.
shit. Oh shit, my bad.
So no, you're good. Devin, his sister. So she plays it cool, but like she's totally concerned. There's something wrong. She does not believe what he was saying at the moment, talking about that he was obviously talking about the baby being alive and not holding the picture of his
Right.
dead wife, you know. She finds that extremely confusing and concerning, and she just plays it cool, but you can tell by the way she's looking at him. And she did a lot of good acting with her face in these scenes to portray that. So
Okay, so fetid moppet means fetid is awful and musty, and moppet is just a name for a little girl. So he called her awful little girl. Uh, uh yeah, I guess it
okay.
just I guess that's more or less to give the effect of him talking in an old timey way and not so much super threatening. You know what I mean? With super
Yeah,
dehumanizing. I think it was more just to say, okay, he was upset, but he talks in a way that's like from
and we also don't
yesteryear.
know how old this man is. He could be like the original Kier or
Right. He
whoever
could
they
be
right. Yeah.
old.
So Audi Helly sends Milchek after everybody. She's like basically you got to go. All these people got to be fired now.
No, no, no.
What I miss?
She didn't. He said, should I fire them? And she said, like, here, got your decision.
Oh, fair.
That's
Okay, I
what I
didn't catch
said.
that. Okay,
Milchick chose to fire Irving and Dylan.
Dylan.
And remember, he was vaguely telling Dylan that you hit me, and that's why you fired. Because when he talked to him, he's like, unfortunately, your idiot had a physical altercation with one of the employees. You know what I'm
Interesting.
saying? Like he was
It was
talking to him, he
short, but
didn't.
it was like it was a short but violent,
Yeah, it
and
was
yeah,
violent. Yeah, and he didn't tell him like, look, we had a fight, but he was just like, hey, bro, I ain't appreciate that you fired off GP. Like I'm firing
right.
you. Period. I
Well, and
don't
I
really
like how
care.
Irv also tried to play it off or like tried to just like act like a normal because he's definitely not normal. We've determined that in the first season. He's got something going
Yeah,
on where like there's some blending going on where because he's making those weird paintings. So, but he did a good job when he answered the door of like being like, "Hey, what's going on, Mister Milchek? What did I eat in there? You know, like what? You know,
yeah.
what are
Well,
you here for?" Right,
Irving was kind of untethering himself subconsciously during the entirety of the first season.
right.
You know, with the hallucinations of the black ooze running and stuff like that, and then he would go home and paint the pictures of a apparently real place in the facility. So, like, yeah, he was. I think maybe it didn't take with him the way it should have. Maybe he was from an
Well,
older version of it.
I think that we're gonna run into that lately here. That they're we're not aware of all of the side effects of this procedure yet, and this
Right.
is like one of them. So during all of this, it was like kind of cutting around, but like to him and the people, and then like to heli meeting with what Kobelvig? What did they call her? Yeah, Rickon called her Kobelvig or whatever. So she's like offered her promotion basically in that scene, and she's like saying, we're sorry. She gives her this real apology. Just like she did such a good job of making it look genuine, but we all know it's not. She did a
But
good job of that.
that thing right there, that thing right there. Now I have to ask this because that's important to me. Every time the board speaks to somebody, they do it via headset,
Through
and
Natalie.
then person that right that Natalie conveys what the board is apparently saying. The thing is, in that scene, Cobell said, "I'm deserving an apology," and she was like, "The board apologizes just instantly."
Well, yeah, she said, I apologize, my father apologizes, the board
Right?
apologizes. We're sorry
Yeah.
for how you've been treated.
How
But
do you
yeah, the
feel?
board you're pointing out an interesting fact I didn't notice until you pointed it out that the board was not in on this meeting
Yeah. How do
as
you
far as
speak
we
for the
know.
entire board?
Well, maybe she speaks because she has the authority to do so, being daughter of the big boss man.
I,
I don't know.
I got
It's
a
it's
theory
hard to say
about
at this
the board.
point
That's all I'm saying. I
because
got
we
a
don't
theory
know.
about.
Okay, I'm
I don't
interested
think
to
the
hear that
board
because we got
exists.
because we don't know the hierarchy really. Is
I
the
don't think the
board
board
over
exists.
over the Egans? Are the Egans the ultimate say so, and then the board, or you think the board is in charge of
I
everything?
don't think the board exists.
Okay, fair enough.
I
And we
think.
haven't heard
I
now. I
think
don't recall in the first season, but we never heard them talk. It was always through a proxy, right?
exactly.
Okay.
I think the board is that I'm holding something over your head, a bigger threat. It's something worse than me type of situation. I could be wrong. I might be wrong. I'm kind of hoping I'm wrong because I hope that's not what it is. That to me that kind of sucks. But what I'm getting from the actions of everybody is that the board doesn't actually exist
You think
because
it would
of
suck
the
if they
board
didn't exist? If
always.
you're right, you're saying you think it would suck if you're right about that?
Yeah, I think
Uh,
if I was right, that would be horrible.
okay.
I don't think that's good writing, and this show doesn't seem to be prone to bad writing. So
Not so
I'm
far.
I don't think I'm gonna be upset with whatever it turns out to be because they seem to be on the right track to like subvert your expectations. I haven't seen one thing on the show yet where I was like, yeah, I knew that was coming.
No, nothing yet. Uh-uh.
Nah.
No.
And
So,
that's never listen people out in TV land, the writers and actors and producers, that's never a good thing.
right.
Nobody wants to watch something where they just sit there like they can call everything play for play for play. Sometimes a little bit of mystery it goes a long way. Continue. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, that's what we're here to do is talk about this, right? I was looking over. I've said a couple of these things, so but like I did write in all capital letters and like boldly that the new opening, because like everything we just discussed happened before the opening, the new opening to the show took place. So that I thought that
Mm-hmm.
was interesting. But the new opening is crazy. You remember how crazy the last one was? This one is even more bananas, and I love it. I thought it was really really good.
They're representing a lot of things with these balloon heads.
Give me some
Like you
insight.
brought it up. You brought it up earlier when you talked about the balloons that Milchick brought for Mark with his face on them. Uh, it, I don't. I'm not. I haven't made a connection to it yet. But it's something they're spelling it out, and it's gonna seem obvious as hell later on. But it's like
Right.
they spelling out what it is they're doing, and it could be they're stealing consciousness. It could be they're transferring souls. Who knows? But it's something, and it seems so obvious because they're making it clear as day. But
Yeah,
I'm
but
still lost on
yeah, but you said like you just said you were like they've done a good job of so far like putting things in front of you that you didn't see coming. When you do like you said, we've watched a lot of TV, we've watched a lot of shows, watched a lot of movies. A
planet.
lot of shit is predictable. This show to me is not predictable. I watch it in a state of mind like what the fuck is going on?
I haven't watched a single episode yet. Where I was like, I didn't enjoy this episode.
No, me either.
and
I
that's not normal. Usually they got that. Shows give
especially
you
with
that.
especially with
Good.
the tone and the pace of the show is not like super high octane, but also managed to keep this discomfort and intensity. Excuse me. The whole time that you're watching is people are doing all the actors and actresses are doing a great job with facial expressions and like acting without having like words and lines. They're all doing great. It just really conveys a lot of uncertainty, discomfort. They're just doing all of that with the tone and the camera work of the show. So anyway, but yeah, so like after the opening, Milchek shows up at the party, like the end of this party that they were having at the end of the first season, where any Mark woke up at his sister's house. How did Milchek know he was at his sister's house? Like, how did he know where he was? They got like a tracking device. They just know where they're at all times.
You never left the Matrix, Neo.
Okay, okay, okay.
that's,
I mean,
that's
like
how I feel.
I understand that's less complicated than I think it's something to do with that machine or something. I was thinking like that, like they know where they're at with the. I just found it weird that he showed
We
up
do
there and he didn't go to Mark's house first. Like he comes to Mark's house the next night, but he doesn't. He goes to their house first at the end of all this. And another question I had during this conversation: what the fuck is lactation fraud?
I'm looking
I'm
meaningly at the
right.
camera.
Yeah, I know.
I have
I'm looking at you
proof.
dead in the face in the camera too, because you
Have-
can't see me.
They say some stuff, and then they say it flippantly,
Well, like
and
it's
it's
they say it as if it's normal information. Like this is something that's
yeah,
happened that everybody
like
knows about.
no, bro, you gotta double back and explain that. What's
We're
that, dog?
explaining what is lactation fraud? What are we talking about? Right,
Like, no, seriously, bro. What are we doing right now?
right.
Here's the thing. Milchik comes to the party. They differentiate Milchik from everybody in the town that I can consciously recall because he's on a motorcycle.
Yeah, and we're in a place where it's always winter.
What the hell is the significance? Like they not. I don't. This is
With
not a
his like
purpose.
Voltron Speed
It's
Racer
not
motorcycle
purpose.
helmet.
Yeah, like what's going on with Milchik and who is he? What's his story? I think they're gonna. I honestly think they're gonna give him a story, but as with most, even though this doesn't follow most TV show type formulas, I think when they give him a story, that might be the end of his character. We might actually get a character death from one of the main characters
Main
once we
characters.
know who
Well,
Milchik is.
he also said something interesting in the first episode too about being an unsevered man. Like he said, I locked you in a room like an animal. As an
Like
unsevered man, I'm gonna have to live with that, which is weird because, like, yes, if he's not severed, then he has to
sounded
go
apologetic
home
when he
and
said
deal with, huh?
yeah, he sounded apologetic when he said it too, which
He
was
did.
weird.
It is weird, right? So then Dylan he's gonna go get a job. He's trying to go find a job. His family goes to a place called Great Doors with
Come
the
on, bro.
shittiest little sign.
Come on. Keep going. Keep going.
It's the
This shit
shittiest
was
little.
hilarious.
It was so good. Like that scene was like probably out of the 3 episodes we've watched, one of my favorite scenes so far is the scene with him in with this guy. Mr.
Listen,
Saliba is his name.
listen. You can't tell me that they're not in some sort of matrix simulation. This man went to find another employer and found a door place and was closed out of the door place by his doppelganger.
By a dude who looks just like the dude even says to Dylan, "You remind me of myself." He says those words to him.
He was closed out of a door of an opportunity. The door slammed of an opportunity. And then a man in that thing said, I don't like women. Like I'm not quoting directly, but
Right.
he implied that he don't like women because they make their own doors in house. Think about that. That's not just
Well,
that's not like
yeah, they make their doors. He said
yeah,
it's fucking hubris.
Yeah, the hubris of
Right.
making your own doors. Like
Right.
that's such a nonsensical thing to say in real life.
Because he's mad. He's still sour about whatever contract he didn't get to do the doors in that
Right,
Lumen building. But
right.
hey,
That
so
sounds
like the
like
whole
logic.
analogy with like what kind of door, if you were going to be a door, what kind of door would you be? He's like your pocket door. He's like, oh, so you could just tuck yourself away. It was just like this dude's got some weird thing about doors, but it's
But the
also a thing
door,
that comes up later. Like you even said that Dylan, like a dude who never found his place, he never found his thing. Right? The wife says to go into the next episode. The wife says that to him. He's like, Dylan's a guy who never found his thing. He's talking to somebody, an older version of himself, essentially what we're looking at, who found his thing. As
yeah,
weird as it is, this dude knows fucking doors, bro.
but I think the door. Listen, there's not a company in existence that builds anything that makes their own doors. That's not a thing. The reason why that line existed is because door in and of itself represents a passage from one place to another.
Sure.
Lumen does that in-house. They
Yeah.
make the passages from one place to another.
Very
The
good analogy.
hubris is talking about man's willingness and audacity to play God. So he's saying to Dylan, you work with the company that think they can play God and transfer souls from one place to another. I'm expounding at this point,
No,
but
but no, dude, this is fantastic. Keep going.
yeah, it's like, what are we talking about? Because there's we know about door places. Nobody does doors in house. That's not, like I said. So I
Right,
know it meant more than that. And then also the
right.
fact
He could.
that
Another thing
this
I
is the
took from that.
matrix existence, and this man is looking at himself, telling himself that he can't go through these doors.
Right.
That's
He said
insanity.
he thinks severed people are. I think it's abhorrent is the word he used, and
Yeah.
that was like the end of the scene, which I don't know. It was one of my favorite scenes so far. The It gets
Oh, by the way,
a
my
kind of
nephew said
semi
no
sweet call
cheat
from
on.
us. Go ahead, my bad.
My bad. I'm sorry. Yeah, the timing is off. But no, my nephew said that Dylan's wife is going to cheat on him with his any, and that when he said that, in my mind, it furthered the thought that I had, which is about Dylan, his with the guy telling him about the doors and shit. His whole conflict is with himself.
Yeah,
And so imagine your wife cheating on you with you,
and
but
like
not you.
from what we know of Dylan G on the inside, is he's like the confident dude. He
Yeah,
puts off that air of like, dude, like I'm fucking good at this shit. I got the awards on my desk. Look at all this. Like he's like a winner on the inside of there. So like, yeah, she's gonna see. She's gonna. I get where you're coming from. I didn't pick up on this till you just said it, but yeah, like she's gonna get that feeling from him that she doesn't get from Audi Dylan. And
yeah. They're
yeah,
gonna let
which
that.
is,
They're gonna
and
let
she's
that
not
go
gonna see
visit,
anything
right?
wrong with it because it's him. It's his body. It's such a weird dynamic, dude.
You
God,
gonna
it's
have
making me slap my
that's what I'm
forehead.
saying,
Like,
bro.
oh
You gonna
shit.
have beef with yourself.
God, it's so
'Cause
crazy. Like I'm gonna kill this motherfucker, but it's just you.
you gonna punch yourself in the stomach right before you get in the elevator, just to let them know.
Oh man.
That's insane.
So
Carry on.
yeah, it goes on to my notes are getting fewer and far between here. So, but yeah, Devin and Audi Mark they meet at the little diner, the Pips diner. So she totally knows he meant the wife. So she's trying to pry it out of him, but like it's separate. He doesn't really understand exactly what happened. You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
of the switch or whatever they were. He doesn't really
He
get
feels
it.
like it's a ridiculous notion to have hope that his wife is alive,
Right.
and he feels like she's insulting him by going back and constantly bringing it up. Like you looking at me like I'm an idiot. I identified her body. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole
Right.
idea is ridiculous to him, but I don't think it was ridiculous. I think he was putting on that it was ridiculous. I think that somehow subconsciously he knew because he came around to it
Right.
really quickly. He was like,
Well,
maybe.
yeah, he did. Yeah, because then like even like the meeting with Milchek after that, Milchek showing up at his house with the pineapple
Hmm.
basket or whatever, and he says, like you said, okay, here I wrote this down, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying, bro. He uses Mark's pain to convince him to return. He's like, "This is the
Yep.
reason you went. Like I can see the pain in your face. You're in. He's happy. Like he found love. Like
And
he's
he found
funny.
love.
He's funny. You know, like you should let this dude exist. Basically, he's my friend."
Yeah.
So, but Mark, and I think almost in that moment, you can kind of see him putting the pieces together in his head, kind of like, you know what? Maybe I was talking about my wife. And let me play the Uno reverse card on this dude and go back and see if I can't figure this out and somehow communicate with my innie and figure out this mystery of my wife, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's already, like he said, he was already, Petey already got in his ear last season about reintegration and you know, and all of that. So like he's already had some sort of like bad feeling about this place, and all the shit that happened in the last season, you know, is like pushing him over the edge. But
Yeah, and I think even as
right.
much as they're separate beings, the innies and the outies, I think there's still some through lines. Like
Yeah.
any Mark is inquisitive. He likes to figure stuff out. So you would assume that the outie Mark has those same personality traits. He might have just been beaten down by life, and then the tragic loss of his wife might have,
Hmm.
killed some of his motivation. But he can quickly become, well, look, that's kind of.
Right. And here's two where I wrote down like in my notes that Lumen needs Mark to finish something, but we've already gone over that. Right.
Yeah, I still want to know what that is, man. That's gonna be the best part.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think we're
the
gonna get before the
overarching mystery of the show is going to be cool because there's a lot of questions. There's just layers, like you know, like an onion. It'd be fun. So the end of this episode, Mark finally sees Selvig outside the house. He's been waiting for her, and he finally catches her outside of the house. It's like, hey, what the fuck? You know, who are you? What the fuck is all this? Why did you do this? And like somehow comes to the conclusion, it's like, do you? This also just affirms everything that he was already kind of thinking with the wife, you know. And he's just like, do you know something about Gemma? And she screams and speeds off, and that was the end of the episode. So like I said, that right there is like, you might as well have just said yes. You know,
she keeps walking right up to the edge of blowing a whistle on a lot of shit.
right? And she's not
And
severed, correct?
no, she's not. Well, we don't. She
I guess
hasn't
we
been
don't.
presented as separate.
I I guess we don't know that
But
because
she
she's
walked
just
right
playing
up
two
to the
different people.
edge. She walked right up to the edge of saying something, and it's like it's almost torture because it's like she knows something, but I don't think she knows as much as she thinks she knows. She might just know enough to, set the heroes in motion and get to the next adventure, but I don't think she knows the whole of what's going on. But I like the way they're playing her character, especially the end of season. I mean, episode 3, and I can't wait till we get to that part.
Well, yeah, that was the end of the episode 2. So yeah, we're moving on to episode 3, which I'm telling you, I have very scarce notes on. So I'm I didn't finish my rewatch to finish my notes, so we're just gonna shoot from the hip on the last part of it. And I have it on behind me, so if I need to like kind of like figure out what the last scene was or what a scene was, I can kind of like flip through it. But like I have a few notes to start, so that I could get us kind of like start talking. But yeah, so episode 3 was called "Who's Alive?" with a question mark, and it starts with Selvig on the side of the road. Like you said, she kind of wakes up with the truck passing. She was just sleeping in her car in the cold, and then starts her car and starts driving. Right.
Right, and then she came to a conclusion that she was going to go back because she's going to take her rightful place at Lumen.
Right.
They don't
Right.
spell this out, but it's pretty much illustrated through her actions. She was
Well,
determined to get back to Lumen and take her spot back.
in the weird bullshit spot they offered, you're going to be on the severed something council. I forget what it was, and that that's a fucking bullshit position. So, but so then it goes into Mark, and he's timing his how long it takes him to get, I think, from the car into the elevator until the switch, right?
Which I have to say is a horrible plan, but carry on.
With the light thing, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah,
terrible. It's
terrible
terrible.
plan. Right. I don't understand. Like it's I guess well thought out, but like not at the same time. It's
Yeah, I mean,
creative,
you in
but
the
like
parking
it's
lot.
like
I feel like they're gonna see you in the parking lot. That's all I'm saying.
well, doing
And
that
given the
weird
fact that
shit
you're
with the blanket over your head because that's what he was gonna do. He was gonna pull up in the parking lot, burn that image into his eyes, and then try to run in and be inside. And by the time he opens his eyes, he'd see that.
right, he'll still
So
see it. Now, my question to you is, if you worked in a building where your consciousness was severed for 8 hours and there's no windows, and you walked in, you don't think they could just be like, "Hey, that dude was doing some weird shit in the car. Run out there and check that car out, right quick. Go take a look at what he got in that car real
right,
quick."
and he just left it in
Right.
the seat. Probably, maybe he just didn't
Right.
even put it away.
You have to leave it in the seat by the
Right.
nature of the play. You don't even have time to put it in the trunk and walk away.
Yeah, because I am operating and I'm assuming at all times that they're being surveillanced, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of what
Especially
it
like
feels
we talked
like
about earlier, with Milchick showing up to the
to the
party. Like
party. Like they know where they're at. So
watching
yeah,
these people.
right. Oh,
And I
okay.
want to point out, we thought that Harmony Cobell,
Yep.
Mrs. Selvig, we thought that she was part of the surveillance program in the first season. We didn't know that she was like doing this on her own. And the fact, moving in next door to Mark and trying to be a part of his life, we didn't know that this wasn't a Lumen type of thing. This was just her own thing. So that lends more to the she might she might have some relation to Mark or his wife that
Okay.
they don't know.
I
I'm
got you.
thinking because she seems to have her designs on Mark, even though Milchick tried to say that she was trying to have sexual relations with him. I think it was more of like overseeing or overwatch type of thing. Like she cared about him for real. I don't remember did she did. It don't feel like she tried to. Did she?
Who?
Mrs. Selvig. She didn't try to come on to Mark in the first season. I don't remember.
No, but like somebody who's at Milchick tried to say that, like that she was
Like, Milchick tried
pursuing
to
him
say
into
that.
like a thruple, as he used the word. I
Yeah.
think that was in the first episode. So then we get to Milchick and Natalie in the office. Natalie's in the office waiting for him to talk to him because he walks in the office and sees the balloons in the hallway and like grabs them all angrily and walks into the office.
Oh,
And
he was being
Natalie,
disrespected by those balloons, just like he was being disrespected in the first or second episode when they kept Mrs. Cobell's name up on the computer when he logged in,
right?
and he
Yes,
called in the corporate to get them to update that, and he felt like it was a slap in the face to see her name, even though he was in the position.
right. Yeah, he feels. Yeah, he definitely feels slighted by the whole thing because he wants he doesn't feel permanent. It's permanent without those things. Like those weird things have to happen for it to feel
Mm-hmm.
permanent. But then yeah, so then Natalie's waiting for him, right? With the she's on the phone call with the board.
Got the board.
She got the board and gives him a very interesting gift.
I love this scene,
The
not because of the gift.
reconicalized paintings, she called them.
Yes.
You so you want me to describe them or you want to describe them?
No, I want to say so because I got some a real cool observation about it.
Cool.
In the collective subconscious, in society, Black folks especially, we always know, we talk to each other non-verbally all the time. They represent this in movies with what they call like The Shining from the Shining movies, and they did it in a couple of other things, comedy and stuff. But yeah, Black people, we kind of do nonverbal communication, societally. The disrespect of putting his face and putting black skin on all of these old paintings. I
You could
don't Either they're spelling out that the board was purposefully pushing that button, or that they don't know that that comes off as disrespectful and disingenuous. You know what I mean?
It is really hard to say what it is, what that is. It's one of those two
Right.
things. But
You
is
know,
it
it's so
so?
you don't
Is it
know.
purpose or is it ignorance? Right.
Right.
It's
It's like if it's ignorant, it's like, God damn, you ignorant, stupid son of a bitch. But at the same time, it's like, are you doing this on purpose to see how I react to it? But the reason why I'm leaning
so
towards
there you
they did
go.
it on the reason why I'm leaning towards them having done it on purpose is because of Natalie.
Right.
Because
So
she looked
she's
at him. She gave him the black lady look. She was like, look, bro, I know.
I
Oh,
know.
trust me, I know.
Well, because she said
I
she
know.
got it. She said I received the
She
same
was like,
gift.
she said the board wants me to express that I was happy with this same gift.
Yeah.
I don't
Wow.
know the exact
Right.
words, but she was like, the board wants me to express to you that I received the same gift and was very satisfied with it.
I think that was cool that you the way that you your expression of in words at that nonverbal communication between those two
Yeah.
is very very interesting. So here's another question I have: do they give this same gift to all non-white individuals that are promoted in the reflection of their race?
Now, see, this becomes the question because the only way we can see that, and they might be setting up to see this because they did have Irving go back to the place with the lady who handles like the pictures and shit.
Right.
So we might get to see that. They might answer that question for us, but that would be interesting because
So like Mrs.
if you
Casey, like his wife is she's Asian. So like did
hmm
they when she was promoted to whatever position she was, did she get an Asian version of the Kier cycle
right,
paintings? She's like, it's the
that's
whole
what
cycle. It's the whole Kier cycle. I was looking at
it
that
is.
shit. It made me uncomfortable. I was like,
I
God
was
damn.
laughing my ass off because Milchick was like, "You punk,
Oh,
bitch
he was
ass."
so mad, bro. You could see his jaw tensing up. Yeah, dude, as far as an actor go, that dude might be one of my favorite characters on the show. He's fucking killing it. Like, no jit. Like, the
Milchick
dude is
is
great.
gonna have something. Milchick is gonna have something. Like I said, I'm looking at they're gonna explore deeper into his character and his
I
motivations.
hope so.
So when they do that, I hope that doesn't spell the end. Just like with Mrs. Cobell or Selvig. I don't. But I'm gonna call her Cobell from now on.
Okay.
Cobell.
Kobelvig.
Once we figure out what it is she's about, she might be gone before the end of the season, especially with what we just saw at the end of this episode.
Okay, so for some reason I'm blanking the end of the episode, but you'll have to remind me when we get there. So I'm coming to the end of my notes actually. So like right after this, so I have Mark and Helly find the goat room.
Oh my God.
So they find the
Shout out to
empty, but it's empty. So the goat room is empty. It doesn't have the dude milking or feeding the goats or whatever it was in the first season, but they find a hole in the wall with the plastic things and they crawl through the goat hole, crawling around shit piles and stuff. And they crawl into a room full of grassy hills and weird people dressed up as goats, but also real goats. And
Mhm.
Gwen Christie.
Yeah.
Gwendolyn Christie. I was like, when she came up, I was like, is that this? Oh, fuck yeah. She's great. I love her. Gwendolyn Christie played
We,
Brienne of
we,
Tarth. Huh?
we all love her as a community. I just want to say that.
Yeah, I wrote my note down.
Right.
I said Gwen Christie is a great actress. Her first line is, "Are you here to kill me?"
Are you here to kill? She stood there like she was good. She stood there
She had
in
the
a
scissors
position
raised
of,
in her hand.
if you here to kill me, it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If that's what you're aiming for, it's not. This will not be fun for you.
Right. Right.
So
So
I thought that was pretty cool.
they have a they show her the flyer that they were making at the beginning of the episode, which was a drawing of Miss Casey, and says,
Right.
basically, do you know this woman and where did she go? Have you seen her? Did she come through here? Anything, like give us any information. You could obviously tell she knows something, but gets like mad at the prospect that they ain't leaving without an answer, and gets up and rings a bell, like a cowbell, and like I want to say what 12 to 15 people who we did
Yeah.
not
Somewhere
see when they entered the room stood up and
they just.
surrounded them.
Where did those people come from, bro?
Bro, well, the one dude that was dressed like the goat, you could see he was in camouflage, but the
They
rest of the
showed him
people were
early.
all in uniform. And where did they come from? We did not see them when they entered the room. And another dude came out of a door behind Gwendolyn Christie. I did not write her character's name down in my notes.
Tall milk, a tall glass of milk. That's
Right,
what I'm gonna call it.
right.
Sweet
Speaking of
baby
which, he
Jesus.
Milchek did say that almost that very phrase to Irving when they were sitting in the video room. He says, "Irv, can
And
you
it
sit in the
seemed like,
back? Tall glass of water."
yeah, and it seemed like he was a little flirty with that. I
It was
thought
weird.
I wish we would have noted that when we were talking about it, because that I remember distinctly thinking like, why did he say that like that?
Why did he say it like that?
Yeah, it
Right,
was almost.
right,
He's like, Irving, I need you to sit in the back, tall
right.
glass of water. Like, what are
So
you doing?
here, full disclosure, the last note I have written down is dude dressed as a goat is bananas. So from here on out, we're shooting from the hip. Do
Okay,
you remember
so
what?
two things.
Go ahead.
They revealed after a little prodding, they revealed that they do in fact know her. They have seen her. The last time they saw her, she was alive. She was very helpful to them, and they respected and liked her.
Right.
Cool. We knew it was going there. We knew it wasn't going to be a wild goose chase of a season of them running around and everybody saying she's dead. It wouldn't even be a way to propel the plot forward with that. My question is this: when little dude came up to tall glass of milk, Gwendolyn Christie, and leaned in and told her to, ask them to see their stomachs, why was he expecting there to be pouches?
Bro, I can't believe I didn't write this question down. I don't know what. I think it was right at the point where I remember you said you had fallen asleep. I'd done the same thing because we're like old people now. So I dozed off on the couch watching the damn show. But anyway, yeah, she said something about like no pouches. I was like,
She was like, see, no pouches.
what
Like
the fuck?
here's my question to you.
Okay, this is leaning way more into your non-human theory. Go ahead, go
There
for
you,
it.
there
Listen,
you go.
hey, listen,
I'm
I'm behind
like,
you now. I'm leaning
do
more
they
on your side of the fence.
do they not know how humans work? Do they not have outies? Are these people completely severed and never leave the building? Because you got to think about it. If I'm severed and I'm getting a nice, well-paid job, and I leave, and every day I smell like sheep shit, I might have some questions.
This is a very good question, and I'm wondering if there's
I,
some sort of different protocol where those people are like, the end of their day, they go and clean up before they get in the elevator.
I mean, that could answer that pretty quick, but I feel like the sheep shit in your the follicles in your nose hair will just carry on
I
with
would
you.
I
Some
would feel like I don't care how many showers you take. If you spend 8 hours of your day every day around goats, you're gonna smell like a motherfucking goat.
you don't smell like goat. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's just it comes with the territory. So I feel like those people might never leave there. They don't have
That's an interesting thought that
they
they
don't
don't.
have an out version. They're just there.
So dude,
That's
but
just
she did try, but when she did appeal to them in her little speech. She appealed to them as fellow severed people, basically, right?
right.
And that's what seemed to like turn them around a little bit, was to help them, was her appealing to that humanity, which is, I just also think this is like Helly is using her outward knowledge to facilitate this endeavor.
Because at the end of the day, she got to keep the company running.
Right. And she got to point them in whatever direction that gets Mark to fucking finish Cold Harbor.
Yeah, he has to get back to work, and the only way to get him back to work is let him go on this little adventure. They didn't stop anybody in the hallways. You never saw anybody get pulled over in the hallways or doing anything besides working, except for when Mrs. Wong came and got Dylan to take him for his visit, because they didn't care that Irving was walking around and went to the other department and started talking about his old boyfriend and all this stuff when when he got out and went to the real world. They didn't come over there like you're not supposed to be in this department. They didn't, even though to be fair, in this first season, you didn't see a lot of milk chicken running around telling them where they can and can't go, but it was kind of implied that they wasn't supposed to be in certain places. But
Well, and, and at the
this,
and they were given the hall pass, so now they're allowed to run around.
Right.
I don't know if you.
But this
Sorry, I was looking around. I tuned out for a second because I was trying to like figure out what the next scene was. So yeah, go for it.
right. So they definitely Helly and Mark kind of just went on a whole ass adventure, and there didn't seem to be any kind of like, hey, okay, look,
Anybody
you
trying to
got a
stop
hall
them?
pass, stay over here. You know what I'm saying? You got a hall pass, but don't go in the other departments
Right.
disturbing them and stuff
Well,
like that. It was nothing.
when last year they were last season they were installing high tech locking doors to keep them in place.
Mhm.
So yeah, so like they flipped their like mentality towards it to try to keep the innies more comfortable by giving more privacy and giving them more freedom and giving them more, like ability to roam the building, I guess. So the next scene was the meeting between Dylan G and his Audi's wife, which I did not happen to catch her name either. Now that I'm thinking about it, a rewatch would have been really helpful all the way through. Again,
I don't think.
whatever. We're here. We're grown men with jobs and shit. We gotta,
I don't think, and plus, I don't think her name too much matters so much as what her character represents.
Right. Fair enough.
She's the wife who's holding shit down at home, keeping regular employment, while her husband finally got his shit together and got a job at Lumen, which he just recently lost. Which it seems like if you're just doing characterization, she's probably at her wit's end with this dude that she loves and cares about deeply, but he can't seem to get it together, and it
Right.
puts a lot of on their relationship. So, like we said earlier, like you were saying, those aspects of his relationship that's not tethered to his pain and his stress and misery is what's gonna attract her to him on the inside.
To the innie
She
of him. Yeah.
right, any version of him, she's gonna see the person she probably fell in love with in the first place, which is gonna be the thing that I'm looking forward to, which is the first ever TV show or movie where somebody was cheating on somebody with them.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing, man.
I'm
I keep
curious.
saying that over again. I keep repeating it because it's such a good dynamic. They really fucking managed to hit a spot of like, man, like really like appealing to humanity and thinking about this shit like through these lenses of like,
Could you really get
wow,
mad at
like can
could you really get mad
I
at your wife?
don't know, man. Like if there was just like this better version of me that she was just like, oh no, like dude is cool, but it's still you. Like it's man, it's so crazy.
I'm
Cause like even
about
Dylan,
to
like the
hear.
questions he asks, like what's the matter with him? Is he a fuck up? Like does he
Right.
like what like because it just doesn't even compute in his brain. Like the
Right.
loser mentality just doesn't sit with Dylan G on the inside, you know?
Hmm.
Right.
No, but yeah, that's gonna make for an interesting conversation, and I'm pretty sure my wife is gonna be quite upset at because I'm gonna have that conversation tonight. But
Oh, you're
um,
gonna ask her what
I'll
put her in
definitely
that
bring
position,
it.
right? So yeah, that was interesting. So now they got this reward structure for Dylan that he gets to see these people and these things that he wants the most, like that entices him about the outside and keeps him. I don't know. He's gonna be working. He's gonna say things in opposition and work against the goal of the team because of.
Well, if you notice, my fault. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, that was it. That was basically it.
No, I was just saying, if you notice, they had planted the seed earlier, and it was already showing efficacy, so to speak, because they told him they pulled him to the side earlier. Well, they didn't pull him to the side, but they had told him in an earlier episode, "You're the only one who has a family outside, and now we have a
The rest
room
of your
for
coworkers are single. Yeah, they did say
the
that.
rest of everybody's single, so you will have visits with your Audi's family." As a reward for good behavior. And you saw it being effective because when Irving came, I don't know why I want to keep calling this dude Earl, but when Irving came to them, like, let's go take a walk. And Dylan was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, he
Right.
had
Yeah.
already the opportunity to
It was.
go and go. He was like, nah, I kind of want to
I'm in the
see
zone.
these.
Basically, is what he said. He gave me the same excuse you gave me earlier because you were working on your comic. When you just said, "Hey, dude, I'm fucking hot right now. Can we put this off a little bit?
Yeah,
Because I
he
got to do this
definitely
shit."
did. He
And I
was on his
totally
phone.
understand that. Yeah, go for it, man. Fuck yeah, I'm not mad at you. Get that shit fucking knocked
Yeah,
out. Hell yeah.
so he was like, yeah, I want to keep on working because I'm working towards something now. I have a purpose and I'm working towards something. Milchick already apologized about my belt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. He was
I
mad about
just
the belt.
he really was pissed about that belt. And you got to think about it. Probably the only thing that the any owns.
Right. Like, dude,
Uh,
their possessions are so few and far between. Like, that's why those little
yeah.
reward things that he was like kept in his desk meant so much to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, those things were really important in the first season.
So no, I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought that whole visit thing is gonna pay dividends in about I want to say maybe episode 7 or 8.
Yeah,
We're
it's
gonna see
coming.
some.
Yeah, by the end of the season, we're gonna see. Yeah, we're gonna see that conflict either begin or resolute by the end of
How
the
you beat?
season.
Oh, that's gonna be
How
so
you,
crazy.
right? No, we might see something actually happen, like you said. Like he finds out and he punches himself in the stomach, like right before he uh gets in the elevator or some shit like that. You know, I
Yeah,
can see
punch
something
yourself
like that.
right,
Yeah,
but right when you go to punch out, you punch yourself in the eye. Right when you get in the
right,
elevator,
right.
that's
That's how you
retaliation.
fight yourself, right? This old Ace Ventura, or not Ace Ventura, liar, liar. I'm kicking my
Yeah,
own ass. Next
but
scene
yeah,
is Devin arriving at her home to find Natalie in her fucking living room meeting with her husband, Rickon. And they having a discussion about making an any version of his book since they seem to respond to it so much. They maybe think about a different approach of how to keep the innies subdued by giving them this book that they responded to. And
the
in
you
but
are.
changed. The you are, right. Changed to a version to fit them, which is an interesting concept as well.
Natalie's presence felt vaguely threatening. I don't.
Oh
Once
yeah.
again, I don't think that that was done for the sake of the audience. I mean, we're gonna get that. We're gonna pick up on that, but I think that was done for the sake of the character. Uh, she was there with her husband, and she wanted her to come home and find them talking because they could have came and visited during the daytime. They could have
Right.
came in with normal business hours. They could have came at any time of the day. There's no strings on them for that. They did that in a way where she would come home to one of the people from Lumen at her house. So I thought that
It
was
was
pretty cool.
well, and the fact that now there's been two people from Lumen, three people from Lumen inside of her home.
Hmm.
Selvig, Kobelvig, Milchek, and now Natalie, and they just come in and go in freely, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, she does not like that. So then she goes to Mark's house or something like that, and
She said something she was leaving. Yeah.
he's working on the light with "Who's Alive" written in it somehow or another. So he's
Hmm.
beginning his plan of like the one we discussed already about burning the image into his retinas. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me move along here. Oh, and then we get Milchek at night, basically after hours working. See me working on his computer. He switches it off. He pushes it in the corner, and oh, this is where he goes and he hides the paintings. He looks at the paintings again. He puts them back in the box, and then he goes and sticks them up on his like little hidey shelf, like back in that little closet area that's off of that office. So
Yeah.
that
He not that.
no, he ain't right. He ain't like he's not gonna hang that shit up around the office. Like what do you think he was gonna do with it? Like he's gonna hang it up at home? Like anyway.
See, Milchick's crib probably creepy as hell. Milchick's crib probably is just like a empty studio apartment.
Dude, like nothing on
No,
the walls, right? Yeah, it looks
no
very much
furniture.
like the office that he works in, probably.
He probably just stands there in the corner, wide awake for the entirety of the night until it's time to go back.
Okay, so then the next one we get is the confrontation between Selvig and Helly, as Helly's leaving and getting into another pretty fucking awesome looking old car, if I say so
Yeah,
myself. That blue car, whatever the fuck she was getting in, that motherfucker was badass. And with another very intimidating, creepy looking dude, like with her. And they actually like so they showed him in the background, but then they like made it a point when she invited they had a conversation, and she basically told her, you're overestimating your contributions and underestimating your blessings. So she basically told her, like, yeah, listen, lady, you standing here telling me that you all are important and you ain't. So, and then she like invites her inside. She's like, come on in. And she goes to start walking in, and she stops dead and decides, like, changes her mind. She goes, gonna go get back in the car. But when she looked at Helly, that dude was out of focus, but then steps up into focus. Like, he just takes a little step forward, and just to like, I don't know what it was about that was like, okay, they made an emphasis in like showing him again. So like, he's another one of these like do dirt type of guys, like, and you could tell Mrs. Selvig was frightened by this dude, or had seen him do something in the past or something like that, because she recognized something in this man, and it made her turn around. And basically, you saw it, like, even with a little bit of giddy up in her step, like she kind of ran to the car a little bit.
See, here's one thing about that scene, and this is why I love it. First of all, she's worked there. She knows what they can do and the threats they can bring to bear,
Or
right?
what they're willing to do, right?
She said, they're gonna take me back under my terms. I'm going back. She turned the car around on her highway to nowhere, and she sped back to the city center. She was determined. She got to the parking lot. She was willing to have a verbal confrontation with Helly. This shows that she was dead serious. It's one of two things happened there. Either she recognized the difference between the first conversation with her and Helly, or the first confrontation with her and Helly, or
The board meeting off the boardroom, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
because remember we talked about this earlier when she was talking to her. She said, "I deserve an apology,"
right.
and she said instantly, "Yeah, the board apologizes."
Mm-hmm.
But this time, when she said, I want to meet with the board," she was like, "Come on, I'm gonna get the board in."
Right.
Why we got to go in? Like in that moment, she probably realized, wait a minute, what you mean you got to get the board?
Right.
What's the difference between this situation and then? The last time you spoke for the board. Now you like, yeah, I'm gonna go get the board on the line or whatever.
So
And
that
then
something.
this, like, but I think she saw something, and I don't think we saw it. And I'm gonna watch the episode again tonight, but I don't think we saw what she saw. Now it could that the obvious thing is the big dude, and she probably think, okay, once they get me in here, I'm gonna be down there herding sheep and shit with a fucking with Gwendolyn Christie, or she saw somebody show themselves up because the way that they angled the camera,
Was looking up
you
at the
saw
building.
right, you saw the
Okay.
glass facade of the building, and earlier they had shown that the people on the board and the people, not the people on the board, but the people like Helly and the higher ups, they have a tendency to stand at that window and watch people.
So like Papa
So
Egan could have been standing there watching.
yeah, so it feels like she looked up and was like, "Oh no, hell no," you know what I mean?
So you think she maybe wasn't even looking at that guy?
Right. I
Oh,
think she
okay.
might. I
Okay.
feel like what they're showing us is that she was looking at that guy, but when you look at the composition of the scene was shot in a way to show the imposing visual
Right.
of this building behind them and people being able to look down on them. And they
Right.
set the scene for that in your mind subconsciously because like I said, they showed earlier that these people are, they have a tendency to go over there to the window and kind of look down over people in the parking lot and shit. So it's weird, man. That
Right.
scene was really cool. That was my favorite part of the show because of the fact that she was dead set on coming back, and she knows these people. She knows Helly. She knows the security people. She knows the big dude that be with her.
Right.
That dude is not a surprise. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't
No.
ducked down behind the car.
No.
She knows the guy. She saw him beforehand. So
Okay.
what the fuck did she see to make
Fair
her turn
enough.
around and
And
fear and run off?
I guess the only thing that she would fear, or would be like that thing that she worships, that like 'cause she had that little thing to the Egans, that little in her house she had that shrine.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, I guess that makes a lot more sense than dude just scaring her. But yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
because
I'll have to watch it again though, like you said, to see if there's anything in
right
that.
next to the car when she pulled up. She was sitting in the matter of fact, if you look at the way the scene was, I'm almost certain she was standing in the parking lot before Helly even walked out the door.
Right.
So like, yeah, dude was already there. She was in the parking lot with dude when Helly wasn't even present. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why the hell would you suddenly be scared of him? Like, she saw something, and I
behind
want to know what she.
behind the scenes talk. I should have just cut each episode and made 3 separate fucking videos out of this.
You still can.
Yeah, but if I would have done it, I would have done it with the intros on at the beginning of each one. But that's not a big deal because it's just going to take forever to upload. We're at an hour 30 now. So like I said, it took me like 10 hours to upload a 2-hour video. It works, but it'll just take all night. So it's not a big deal. We'll do that next time. We'll just do one episode because we're caught up now. So we'll just do episode 4 when it comes out. They drop on Fridays on Apple TV Plus. So yeah, just so I'm shouting out the source of our what we're watching and talking about here. It's on Apple TV Plus. Both seasons are on there, so you can check it out there if you guys want to watch it. I know it's a little late because if you've listened to this video and you're hearing me say this now, you're already spoiled. So obviously go watch the show. But anyway, we got one more scene to talk about, and it's Mark in his car trying to do the retina thing where he's like practicing how long he can burn this image into his eyes for. And if you do the count, he actually made it because he was counting to 30. He like reached like 34, 35 or 6 or something in the elevator at the beginning. And he was counting to, he said 30 something before he opened his eyes and the chick was standing in front of the car. So he almost had it working, but she basically told him, "You're fucking being an idiot. That shit ain't gonna work. Your pupils dilate in the elevator. So it's an immediate reset." And I think because he watched this woman murder a man, he didn't want to let her in the car.
Right.
She was like, "Open the door." He was like, "Why?" That made me laugh, like when I was watching it. But anyway, he lets her in the car, and then she basically tells him his wife is alive. She like confirms in her own way. She says it in a weird way, which also can make me think that she's kind of lying too, because she has to use him for some sort of means to an end. But he said, "Is Gemma alive? Or is my wife alive?" Or whatever he said to her. And she said, "She was the last time I saw her." But when could that be? Could that be she could be referring to a time before she actually died?
Yeah.
But we
It's been a
know,
long
but
time.
we know the wife is alive. We know Miss Casey's. Well, she was alive last time we saw her going in the elevator at
Right.
the end of season 1. But like, so it was just a weird way for her to say that. The last time I saw her, she was, and it makes him believe right away. He gets out of the car, loses his mind, and she tells him, she's like, reintegration is the only way to do what you're trying to do. You can't talk to your innie. The only way to do it is through this. And he's just like, "Yes, do it. I want to see my wife." Like, no hesitation. Just do it. And they
Mm-hmm.
go in and they do the procedure, and you get a really cool scene of the blending of the two. I thought they did a really good job of cutting that together with like him sitting on the table in his normal clothes and in the suit. Like, it was like a blending of the two minds. They did a really good job of visually representing what was happening in his brain on screen. I thought it was really interesting the way they did that at the end.
I think that if I had to guess, I think we're gonna spend about an episode, of a full episode, even though they're gonna move the story along. I think we're gonna see a full episode of him trying, or them showing the possible side effects of this reintegration.
Mm-hmm. Well, she said she'd have
And
gotten better at it because she
right,
killed Pete. It killed his boy. He knows this.
right, she got better, so it might just permanently cripple him, but not kill him. But no, but I think we're gonna see some side effects. Obviously, he's gonna have to jump over those hurdles, and then he might be slipping in and out of different consciousness
Yeah, I think
while
definitely we're
trying
going
to
to get some stuff like that happening for sure. But yeah,
communicate with the people that work there. But I think the thing that I'm really looking forward to
do you think he tries to
is
hide it with the people that work in the inside, or just openly tells them, "I'm from the outside. Here's what's going on"?
I think that if I'm narrating this, if I'm writing this, I would have him tell them because that makes sense to the character. But I think that if he does that, then that's when we're gonna see the whole Dylan character switch. be come into play because they'll be able to kind of, or we might get a reveal on whether or not Helly is actually severed
Yeah.
still. You know what I
And
mean?
yeah,
So
I was fully convinced of that until your argument from earlier, which was very, very, very strong about her just not wanting to tell him because of who she
yeah,
is. Like, fine.
right.
Like that's yeah.
But yeah, we might get a reveal. I mean, well, however they do it, I think I'm gonna enjoy it. I ain't gonna lie to
I
you because
have
I'm
enjoyed everything so far. It's so weird that you can enjoy discomfort because it is a very uncomfortable show, but it is very enjoyable, very well acted. The music is fantastic. The cinematography is fantastic. And the storytelling is great. I can't wait to see where it goes. I'm excited. So from now on, here on out, we should be doing an episode per episode. I would like to. So they come out on Fridays. We should be able to knock it out by the weekend and have it up by the end of the week, the end of the weekend, and
yeah.
have it up for anybody who's checking it
I
out. But
just
yeah,
want to point out
so
one thing
go ahead.
real quick
Yep,
before you sign
absolutely.
out. The name of the department that they went to with the goats was Mammalians Nurturables.
That's a.
Mammalian Nurturables.
I forgot to write that
S-
down.
Sounds like a subcategory of species that would be done by somebody who's never mind. I can't wait to see the big reveals. This show is pretty dope. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you folks like our discussion on it, and I hope
Yeah,
y'all looking forward to us dissecting it more in the future.
yeah.
And if you're not watching it currently, go ahead and get your Apple Plus subscription. Do I don't know if they offering trials right now, but try to take the trial and go ahead and look at it. You might find yourself in a position that you might be comfortable paying for Apple TV. And Jeremy could tell you, I'm not a fan of Apple. I'm not a proponent of Apple, but I'm telling you, this is one of those shows that's worth paying
It's
for.
yeah. You don't want to pay into the ecosystem. I understand that, but like this is almost like a separate thing. Like their originals are pretty good. They actually like the Ted Lasso. I've never watched Ted Lasso, but it gets great reviews and everybody loves it. And yeah, I know you. Yeah, you like it too.
And they
I just have
have
to.
my second favorite show on TV right now, which is Silo. But
Right. So
if
I
I
got to
can
get into
get,
that one too. I'll watch that.
God,
Yeah, I know.
I
You're
can't.
right. I gotta watch. I gotta
It's
watch more
our
stuff. It's just
discussion.
like I'm so into like playing games and stuff like that that it's like it takes something like this, a show that's like really really different and out there to get me like watching and excited about it. But like yeah. So yeah, check us out next time. Like, comment, subscribe, engage with the video in any way you can. It's always appreciated, and we'll see you on the next one.
Deuces.